The defeat at the recent federal election of the Labor-Green Get-Up coalition by Liberals and Nationals was a welcome result, and I can understand the hoopla and fuss that people are making. Let's face it, Australia dodged a very big bullet. Under a hard-left socialist government that would have been a Labor-Green Get-Up coalition, Australia's economy would have been dismantled, unemployment would have skyrocketed, and people's hard-earned wealth would have been stolen by government to pay for a green dream that was both unnecessary and never going to work anyway. Australia would have become like Venezuela. The economy of that resource-rich and prosperous nation has collapsed and is incapable of providing such basics as food and medicine. The people are starving and dying after years of socialism under President Hugo Chavez, whose family wealth was unsurprisingly estimated at $500 million. It's worth noting here that socialist ABC luminaries like Philip Adams, amongst others, boosted Chavez and his reforms. At one time, Adams even suggested we should seek Chavez's advice. Yeah, no thanks, Phil. So back to the Australian election, and yes, a Liberal national government is better than the alternative. So good, apparently, that Rita Panahi suggested to Cory Bernardi that the Australian Conservatives could now rejoin the Liberals because they had returned to their roots.
Well, I've got to jump in. I've listened to Cory tonight. He's applauded the Prime Minister. He seems very happy with the result. Is it time for Cory Bernardi to come back into the fold and be a Liberal? Now, I'm not kidding, because you left at a time when the party was not compatible with your values. Fair enough, it wasn't, but that was under Malcolm Turnbull. Under Scott Morrison, you're on the same page.
Sorry, Rita, you couldn't be more wrong. When the Australian people sober up and the mainstream media takes off its blinkers, they will come to realise that the election result was no victory for them. The new government led by Scott Morrison is by and large the same government which was led by Malcolm Turnbull.
This is my leader.
Morrison was and still is Turnbull light. He was, after all, Malcolm's treasurer, following Malcolm's orders, just another messenger boy. The only real difference is that Morrison appears to be less of a jerk, but his government comprises the same politicians with the same policies. He talks a great game, but listen to what he doesn't say. He is silent on the Paris Climate Accord. He is silent on subsidising renewables. He is silent on high power prices, which is destroying manufacturing. He is silent on Section 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act. He is silent on a weaponised Human Rights Commission, which stifles free speech. He is silent on out-of-control immigration levels. He is silent on political Islam, on Islamic terror, on female genital mutilation, on child marriages, on the humiliation of women, on Sharia law, on halal schemes that might be funding terror, and of Australian police who prevent the free movement of people in Islamic areas of Sydney.
Agents from Campsie Police.
Yep.
I've been informed that you're intending to attending the Lakemba Mosque. Is that correct?
I actually have no intentions of attending. I was just planning on walking through the streets and seeing how the culture was here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with that?
Yep.
So where do you intend on walking to now? I walk around here without any
Right, but
fear.
I'm a critic of Islam.
Yes.
So I can't be in this multiculture because my culture is allowed to have free speech and
Okay, I
criticizes
understand
Islam.
you.
Am I allowed to walk through the area?
I'm asking you not to go down the Howden Street.
You're asking me, but do I have the legal right to walk down this area?
At this point in time, no.
He is silent on the persecution of Christians in the Levant, the Middle East and Africa. He is silent on the rape and murder of white African families and the murder of those who reported. He is silent on the influence of China in Australian politics and national security.
Well, a 6-month joint investigation by Australian media companies Fairfax Media and Four Corners found that in 4 years, Huang Xiangmo gave almost $2.7 million to the 3 biggest Australian political parties. And yet another Chinese billionaire, who has possible connections to the Chinese Communist Party, donated $4.1 million over 10 years.
He is silent on the destruction of the Australian education system by crackpot curriculums. He is silent on the sexualisation of Australian school children through the alleged Safe Schools bullying program.
Introduces and plants that seed. It's about changing people's attitudes. Children, I think, are actually really accepting of this stuff. They ask a question, you just tell them what it is. It's as they get older, if it's a new idea or a new concept, that I think it may be a little bit harder, especially if they've picked up values and beliefs from their parents as well.
He is silent on the degradation of Western civilization from kindergarten all the way through to university. He is silent on dams that could green Queensland and New South Wales and provide irrigation as well as hydropower all the way from Tully in far north Queensland to Adelaide in South Australia. He is silent on uranium, coal and gas that could turn Australia into a global powerhouse. He is silent on the damage to the Australian Defence Force of the death by suicide of veterans, the anti-malaria medicine scandal, the French submarine debacle, and the LGBTI agenda.
Thank you. Does the Army concede, another question, that the program to recruit females into infantry has failed?
No, Senator.
Okay.
Might I ask, Senator, why would you say that?
Pardon? Well, if the Army does not consider that 0% completion rate for females who enlist via the Army preconditioning program to be a failure, how much lower does the completion rate need to go before the program becomes a failure?
He is silent on the 21 suicides a week of men as a result of the family law system. He is silent on the ABC and its abuse of its own charter as it promotes social and economic causes that are destructive to Australia and her interests. He is silent on the United Nations, which is just a tool for globalist agendas. He is silent on the tech giants like Google, Facebook and Twitter, censoring conservative voices. He is silent on vote fraud through the corrupted electoral roll and systems and the failure of the Australian Electoral Commission for years to address concerns raised by the Australian National Audit Office. And he is silent on the aberrant practice of full-term abortion, which is abortion of children up to and including the moment of birth, which is currently legal in Victoria, Tasmania and Queensland. The list goes on, but I've made my point. And so long as Australia continues electing these people like Morrison into office, nothing will change. And so long as the mainstream media are silent, so too will the politicians be. Let's face it, the pollies and the media are in this together, and they have both forfeited their right to be taken seriously. No, Rita, there is no place in the Liberal Party for Conservatives of any stripe. The Liberals are a centre-left party hostage to foreign economic interests, foreign social agendas and foreign cultural goals. On the other hand, the Conservatives will always have a place in Australian politics. Unlike the windsocks that change direction every time the wind shifts, we are steadfast in our values and philosophy. You see, Rita, we know the difference between right and wrong. Scott Morrison isn't a bad man. In my opinion, he's just weak. And so are most of his party. And so are the media. You know, I can understand the pedestrian level of intellect that inhabits our parliaments and the press, even the laziness and incompetence. But as a man and as a soldier, it is the cowardice of those who would pretend to be our betters, to be our national leaders, that I find most galling. This government lacks courage. If only it had a fraction of the courage of the soldiers, sailors and airmen that it sends in harm's way, Australia could become a truly great nation. It has all it needs except one thing: leadership. And the first virtue demanded of leaders is courage, because courage guarantees all the others. We need to do better. So Australia, when you finally stop congratulating yourselves for not voting for what Alan Jones called a national suicide, when you're tired of watching your birthright and the birthright of your children being given away to China, Islam, socialism, globalists and corporations, and when you finally decide you want a better Australia, you'll know where to come. We'll be here fighting the good fight. I'm Ricardo Bosi. Join us.